Sometimes you feel tired even though you did nothing. Your body is still, but your mind feels heavy. You sit with dreams in your heart, but your thoughts keep running everywhere. One moment you want to change your life, the next moment you are lost in distraction. You tell yourself, tomorrow I will start, but tomorrow keeps moving away. You are not lazy, you are not weak, and you are not broken. The real problem is quieter than that. It is your thoughts. They wake you up tired. They steal your focus before you even begin. They whisper doubt when you try to grow. And slowly, without you noticing, they start controlling your life. Most people think discipline is punishment. They think discipline means pressure, pain, force. But real discipline is different. Discipline is not about controlling your body. It is about guiding your mind. Because every action begins as a thought, every habit starts as a decision, and every life is shaped by what you allow inside your mind. This is not a story about success. This is not a story about talent. This is a story about mental discipline, a story about learning to control the one thing that controls everything. If you feel distracted, delayed, or stuck in life, this story is for you. Listen carefully, because what you hear today might quietly change how you think tomorrow. There was once a young boy who wanted more from life. Not more money, not more comfort. He wanted clarity. He wanted to wake up with purpose, to sit down and focus, to start something and actually finish it. But his mind never stayed still. Every morning, he made promises to himself. I will study today. I will work hard today. I will change today. And every evening, he felt the same disappointment. His hands were empty. His goals were untouched, and his mind was full of noise. He would sit quietly, but inside his thoughts were loud. One thought pulled him toward comfort, another pushed him into fear, another reminded him of his failures. He tried motivation. He watched videos. He read quotes. For a few minutes he felt strong. Then the strength faded. Because motivation comes and goes, but his thoughts never rested. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't careless. He was simply undisciplined in his thinking. Every distraction felt harmless. Every delay felt small, but together they were slowly stealing his future. He noticed something painful. The hardest part of his day was not the work, it was starting. His mind always found a reason to escape. Just 5 more minutes. One more video. I'm not ready yet. And without realizing it, he was training his mind to avoid effort. Each time he quit early, his mind learned a lesson. Quitting is easier than focusing. Escaping feels better than growing. Over time, his confidence became fragile, not because he failed, but because he never truly tried. At night, he would lie in bed and think, why do I want success but act against it? Why do I dream so big but move so little? And slowly, a painful truth appeared. His life was not controlled by circumstances. It was controlled by unchecked thoughts. Thoughts that were never guided, never trained, never challenged. His mind was like a wild horse, powerful but running in every direction. And until he learned how to guide it, no destination would ever be reached. That night, for the first time, he stopped blaming the world. And he asked himself a quiet question. What if my thoughts need discipline, not motivation? That question changed everything. The boy had dreams, Real dreams, not small wishes, but quiet hopes that lived deep inside him. He imagined a better version of himself, someone focused, someone respected, someone proud of how he spent his time. Every night his dreams felt clear, but every morning they became distant. Because dreams are easy to love in silence, but discipline is required in action. He wanted success, but he also wanted comfort. He wanted progress, but he avoided discomfort. And slowly, without realizing it, his dreams became decorations, beautiful to look at, but never touched. He would plan his future carefully. He imagined how his life would change, how one day everything would be better. But planning felt productive, even when it wasn't. His mind enjoyed dreaming more than doing, because dreaming costs nothing, but action demands focus. Each day he waited to feel ready, but readiness never arrived. The truth is, clarity doesn't come before action. Clarity comes from action. His dreams were like a map, but he never chose a direction. He walked in circles, not because he lacked ability, but because he lacked mental discipline. His thoughts pulled him in every direction, one moment inspired, the next moment distracted. He felt busy, but achieved nothing meaningful. And that confusion hurt more than failure. Because failing means you tried, but standing still slowly breaks the spirit. One evening, he sat alone and realized something painful. Dreams without discipline become silent regrets. He didn't need bigger dreams, he needed a guided mind. Only then could his dreams stop floating and start moving. The enemy was not outside. It didn't shout. It didn't fight him openly. It lived quietly inside his mind. It spoke in soft voices. Just rest today. You deserve a break. You can start tomorrow. And because the voice was gentle, he trusted it. But every time he listened, something inside him grew weaker. The enemy did not push him to fail. It simply distracted him from trying. It stole minutes, then hours, then years. His thoughts were constantly jumping from fear to comfort to doubt. And because he never questioned them, they became his truth. He believed every thought that appeared. He followed every emotion that passed. But thoughts are not commands. They are suggestions, and his biggest mistake was obeying them all. He noticed that when his thoughts were negative, his actions became small. When his thoughts were lazy, his future became delayed. When his thoughts were undisciplined, his life became unstable. The mind, he realized, is like a garden. Whatever you allow to grow will take over. And he had allowed distraction, fear, and comfort to grow freely. The silent enemy was never life, it was lack of thought control. And the moment he understood this, something changed. For the first time, he stopped fighting his situation. He began observing his thoughts, not judging them, not suppressing them, just noticing. And in that awareness, discipline was born. Because you cannot control what you do not recognize. This was the beginning, not of success, but of self-mastery. The change did not come loudly. There was no sudden confidence, no dramatic moment, just a quiet understanding. For the first time, the boy realized something simple, yet powerful. He did not need to control the world. He only needed to control his response to it. One afternoon, he sat alone with his thoughts, not running from them, not fighting them, just watching. And he noticed something important. Most of his thoughts were not new. They repeated themselves, the same doubts, the same fears, the same excuses. They felt strong, only because he never questioned them. Then a quiet lesson appeared in his mind. You don't have to follow every thought. That sentence stayed with him. He learned that discipline was not force, it was direction. Just like a child needs guidance, the mind needs rules. Not harsh rules, simple ones. He decided to start small, not to control his entire day, not to change his whole life, just one moment at a time. When a distracting thought appeared, he did not react immediately. He paused. That pause was uncomfortable, but powerful. Because in that pause, he had a choice, and choice is where discipline begins. That day, he failed many times, but something had changed. For the first time, he was aware, and awareness is the first form of control. The next day, he made a simple promise to himself. Not a big goal, not a perfect plan, just one small rule. I will focus for 5 minutes. 5 minutes without checking his phone. 5 minutes without escaping. 5 minutes without listening to excuses. It sounded easy, but it wasn't. His mind resisted immediately. It felt bored, restless, uncomfortable. And that discomfort surprised him. He realized something important. His mind had been trained to avoid stillness. Focus felt unfamiliar, almost painful. But he stayed. Those 5 minutes felt long, very long. But when they ended, something unexpected happened. He felt proud. Not excited, not motivated, just quietly proud. That feeling was new. It did not come from dreaming, it came from doing. The next day, he repeated it. 5 minutes became 10. 10 became 15. Not every day was successful. Some days he failed. But he no longer quit on himself. He understood something deeply. Discipline is not about perfection. It is about returning. Each time he came back to focus, his mind learned a new lesson. Effort is normal. Discomfort is temporary. Progress is possible. These small victories did not change his life overnight, but they changed him. Slowly, his mind began to listen, and for the first time, he felt in control. At first, discipline felt new, fresh, almost exciting. But that feeling did not last. Soon, discipline became quiet, repetitive, ordinary. And that was the hardest part. There were days when nothing felt different. No excitement, no visible progress. He woke up, focused, worked, rested, repeated. The mind began asking questions again. What is the point? Why am I doing this every day? Nothing is changing. Consistency does not feel powerful. It feels boring. And boredom is where most people quit. The boy felt that temptation strongly. Some days he wanted to stop, not because it was hard, because it was monotonous. But this time, he did something different. He stayed. He showed up even when he felt nothing, even when motivation was gone, even when results were invisible. And slowly, something happened. His mind stopped fighting as much. Focus became easier. Resistance became quieter. Not because discipline became easier, but because his mind was learning obedience. Consistency was shaping him in ways he could not yet see. Like water shaping stone, slowly, silently, patiently. He realized something important. Success is not built in moments of excitement. It is built in moments of repetition, and repetition requires discipline. One day, he noticed something surprising. He sat down to work, and his mind stayed. No argument, no resistance. It was calm. That calm felt unfamiliar, almost strange. For the first time, focus felt natural. He was no longer forcing his thoughts. he was guiding them. His mind had learned a new pattern. Work time meant work. Rest time meant rest. No chaos, no guilt. His thoughts became tools, not obstacles. He could choose what to think about, what to ignore, what to act on. That control brought peace, not the loud kind, the quiet kind. He no longer waited for motivation. He acted with intention, and that changed how he saw himself. He began trusting himself again, not because he felt confident, but because he kept his promises. Each disciplined moment was a message to his mind. I am in control. And with that control, his future slowly became clearer. Something unexpected began to happen. Time felt different. The days did not become longer, but they became fuller. Before, hours disappeared without meaning. Now, minutes had purpose. He noticed that when his thoughts were disciplined, his time followed. Distraction no longer decided his schedule. Intention did. He no longer rushed through the day, nor did he waste it. He worked when it was time to work. He rested without guilt. And that balance brought peace. He realized something simple yet powerful. Time is not controlled by clocks. It is controlled by attention. Where attention goes, time follows. Before, his attention was scattered. Now, it was guided. He stopped chasing many things at once. He chose one task, one moment. And by doing that, he began finishing what he started. That completion changed how he felt inside. Finishing creates confidence, not loud confidence. Quiet trust. Trust in oneself. He no longer felt tired without working. He felt satisfied from effort. Discipline had not added pressure to his life. It had removed confusion. And with clarity, time became his ally. The boy did not wake up one day and feel like a different person. The change was subtle, but deep. He noticed it in small moments. He chose focus over comfort. He chose action over delay. He chose consistency over excuses. These choices did not feel heroic. They felt normal, and that was the transformation. He was no longer chasing motivation. He was building identity. He began seeing himself differently, not as someone who tries, but as someone who acts. His thoughts were no longer enemies, they were signals. When fear appeared, he acknowledged it and continued. When doubt whispered, he listened, but did not obey. This self-respect grew quietly. He trusted his future because he trusted his habits. And habits are built through disciplined thinking. He understood something important. You do not become strong by feeling strong. You become strong by doing what is difficult consistently. He was not perfect. He still struggled. But he no longer quit on himself. And that made all the difference. For a long time, the boy believed discipline was something heavy, something strict, something only strong people could carry. But now he understood the truth. Discipline was not punishment. It was care. Care for his time. Care for his future. Care for the person he was becoming. Discipline did not take freedom away from him. It gave it back. Because when his thoughts were uncontrolled, he was a prisoner of impulse. Every distraction pulled him. Every emotion decided his direction. But when his thoughts became disciplined, he gained choice. Choice to focus. Choice to pause. Choice to move forward even when it felt uncomfortable. He learned that talent is common, motivation is temporary, but discipline is rare and powerful. Discipline did not make life easy, It made life clear. Clear goals, clear actions, clear direction. He finally understood something deeply. You do not need to control everything in life. You only need to control what you allow in your mind, thought by thought, moment by moment. This was not an ending, it was a beginning. A disciplined mind is built daily, quietly, patiently. Now, let me ask you something. Where do your thoughts go when you try to grow? Do they support you or distract you? Remember this, you do not need more motivation, you need mental discipline. Start small. One focused moment, one completed task, one kept promise to yourself. You are not late, you are not behind, you are learning, and learning takes patience. Growth is not loud, change is not instant, but every disciplined thought moves you forward, even when it feels slow. So tonight, when your mind begins to wander, gently guide it back. That small act may seem insignificant, but repeated daily, it can change your life. Because when you discipline your thoughts, your life slowly starts to listen. Thank you for listening. Stay focused, stay patient, and keep moving forward.